you are a physical therapist and you want to know what is the one thing that strength coaches do better than physical therapists, you have to tune into this episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome all new listeners, and welcome back to those who have heard my content in the past. Happy second week of June. If you are a physical therapist and you want to know what is the one thing that strength coaches do better than physical therapists, you have to tune into this episode. Before I go on to the podcast, what is new in life? What is better? My son, Jacob, is officially 1 year old. If you've listened to my podcast, I've been doing this a little over a year now. So you've been with me on this journey. And I think he's going to start walking this week. I think it's official. The second piece is my son, Zach, just graduated kinder pre-K. And so he is on his way to enjoying his next level of education. And, yesterday, watching him graduate, I walked in the room and the teachers had done some like fun projects for the kids to share with the parents. And one of them was every kid had to put up a sign of what they hope to be, where they plan to be when they grow up. And my son put scientist, right? And I walked up to the board and out of nowhere, I was like, I don't know what happened, but I just got super emotional just watching my son just grow up to be an amazing human being. And so that is what's new with me and my kids and life, but everything else is good. All right, on to the podcast. Why did I do this? Why are we talking about strength coaches and what physical therapists do any differently? And it came from a talk that I had with the team at our recent team meeting. We have them on Tuesdays, and there's always a theme based on the challenges that we're currently going through, that our clients are going through, our athletes are going through, the challenges that we're having with maybe physicians or other physical therapists or team members or whatever it is. And the theme of this week's meeting was leadership, right? So anytime that you are working with, let's talk about your significant other, right? We're not just talking about patients and athletes and coworkers. We're talking about any other person. Anytime you're in relationships with someone, you are always managing one thing, and that is expectations. Like at any given point, like at the top level, you are literally managing somebody's expectations. So recently this week, I posted a video on Instagram. If you don't follow me at Chris Garcia DPT. Talking about, when you work with a patient or an athlete and is your first time working with them, after you go through the whole, tell me about yourself, blah, blah, blah. One of the first things I said was you can figure out what their expectation is. Ask them, like, what were you expecting at physical therapy? What is it that you were expecting? And allow them to have a little bit of input into that. And why? Because if the gap is too big on your expectations, it's very difficult to over deliver or over promise or under promise or under deliver. You really want to just be able to deliver exactly what they're looking for. But then also you as a provider have to hit certain benchmarks to get rid of their pain and do all these other things. And now if they're asking, if they have complex pain and they've been in pain for 5 years and they want to be pain free in 2 visits, I think you have to know that. And if you don't know that, you're going to look like another physical therapist, an average physical therapist who didn't meet somebody's expectations and couldn't get them pain free. Rather than that, it would have been easier just to have a conversation and be like, whoa, that is not possible. Let's have some realistic expectations here. And so with a significant other as well, I explained this, and my wife is going to kill me, but one of the things that we talked about was my wife and I have expectations just for our relationship and what we do. And there's things that I love to do at the house. And then there's things that she wants me to do and I don't love. And so one of those is, don't laugh, is like putting away dishes, right? Like I'll wash dishes all day. And so I wash them after every meal that we have together. And typically she will put them away. And it's a shared responsibility, right? And so she's like, why can't you do it? It's like, I just don't love doing it. So if she expects me to put all those dishes away, I think we have to have that conversation. Like, can you do it just because I don't love it? Maybe one person washes, the other or and maybe with laundry, maybe somebody like washes, the other person puts it away. Either way. But in any case, like with personal life, you always have these expectations. You're always managing them. And when you're with a patient or athlete, it's the same. They're coming in with a certain level of expectation. Every relationship is based off of expectations. Every relationship is based off of expectations. So when you're having challenges or you're just meeting somebody new, the best thing you can do is set those, right? And so how does this relate to the podcast today? Strength coaches. And this can be like, there's so many labels, like strength and conditioning coaches, strength coaches, athletic performance coach, personal trainer, fitness coach, fitness trainer, whatever. I don't want to get into the labels. I just want to say in the industry of working on fitness and speed, agility, conditioning, everything beyond pain, that profession has a niche and they're actually really good at it. And we as physical therapists struggle with the things that they're good at. And let me explain why. The best things that, and I've worked with a lot of good strength coaches, performance specialists, whatever they label themselves as. And as I worked with them in professional sports, and I worked with them in Europe and working with pro athletes, the biggest thing I learned and I picked up for them as I watched them work with the athlete, they care a lot about that relationship because they got to trust that athlete has a certain level of trust that what they're doing is a delayed gratification. Meaning in physical therapy, we have to deliver as much as possible or as fast as possible to get rid of pain. Now that's a quicker sense of gratification because we can get somebody out of pain in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 visits. Now, when you work with a strength coach or a fitness coach, you're not going to get the thing that you want, the gratification, for weeks to months. Like say, for instance, somebody says, hey, I want to run a 4:40. And you're like, what's your current time? 4:08. And you're like, oh, there's a little bit of a gap there. So here's the outline. They're going to break that down. Here's how many weeks, months, whatever it is. And so the athlete or the patient has a delayed sense of gratification. So now they have to see the roadmap. They have to see what that looks like. Physical therapists, we're quick to jump because we can create outcomes fast. But the problem is that when we have complex cases, it's not so easy. We can tell them, oh, I'll get you out of pain here. But when it involves, several layers of, pain management and sports psych and nervous system dampening and whatever you call it, ultimately, it's not as quick. And so we have a hard time explaining what that pathway looks like because we don't even know what it can be, and we're afraid to commit. Somebody right before this, they asked, well, is it hard to determine if somebody's gonna get better? And then once you deliver, aren't you concerned that it's gonna be off? And my response easily is when a personal trainer or strength coach says, hey, I'm going to help you lose weight, I'm going to help you get stronger, whatever it is, and here's the timeline. And if that person doesn't hit the benchmark, but they hit 90% or 87% of what their goal was, they're still happy. What they want to do is move towards progress. That's what they want. And we're talking about pain-free. That's so relative. And honestly, if you're asking my personal opinion, no one's ever going to be pain-free. Like that concept is unreal. Like, I don't know why we feed it down, PT school or, people's head that if you're training and you're exercising on a regular, like if you're in the middle of the bell curve, if you follow my framework and phrasing, if you are in the middle of the bell curve or on the right side of that bell curve with intensity, volume, training, whatever it is, you're always going to have aches and pains. So pain-free is so relative. So I think the hardest part is you have a hard time committing to something. You have a hard time explaining what you can do for people. Why? Because you're not confident and you're concerned that if you don't hit it, that they're going to get mad at you. And the reality is people want progress. Don't promise pain-free. What you're going to promise is, I'm going to help you get to a certain point, and you are going to do this amount of work to get to that point. I'm going to give you all the tools necessary to help you get there. If you don't deliver or you don't do your end, you will only get to 70%. If you crush this and you actually implement everything I'm talking about, you're going to be closer to that 90, 100% mark. I can't guarantee 100% pain-free, but what I can guarantee, you're going to feel better. You're going to have all the tools necessary to get back to the thing that you love doing without those aches and pains, and you'll have more independence and freedom. And that to them is like, gosh, finally somebody has explained that to me, that one, I'm not going to be in pain, pain-free. Number two, this is the path. This is the roadmap. But we're so hesitant to give people information. Why? Because you guys think that you're going to be judged. You think that you're not going to be able to do it. You think you're not going to be able to deliver. But the reality is, all they want is progress and direction and somebody who is on their side. They're not looking for miracles. The miracle is in your head. You think that you need to get people pain-free. False. Doesn't exist, and you don't have to worry about that, because the person on the other side doesn't think that they can even be pain-free. And if they do, you need to have a good conversation with them. So what is it that, strength coaches do better than PTs? Number one is they set expectations very quickly. Like on the first session, how many times, if you ever worked as a personal trainer, work with a personal trainer or a strength coach, you know what they do? What's your goal? What do you need? What do you want to accomplish? Like they start writing down their paper. What do you want to accomplish? Great. By how? By when? Okay, sounds good. If that's the goal, I'm going to do all these measurements, look at your baseline, which a physical therapist does. And then they say, based on what I see, your targets, your training history and everything else, it's going to take 4 to 6 months to get there. Now, in the first month, we're going to be working on strength. The second month, we're going to be working on endurance. Third month, we're going to be working on whatever your next phase is. And then the last 3 months, we're going to work on, toning or, weight reduction, fat loss, nutrition, all those things. And this is what the next 6 months look like. And if that looks perfect for you, that's the plan I would highly recommend. Now, you can try and shorten this down, and I can, see you once a week. But ultimately, if you're trying to hit that target, I'd recommend 2 to 3 times a week. And from there, we can just monitor every single month, look at progress, and you'll know exactly where you're at. And they're really good at expectations. And where PTs fall short is setting expectations beyond the pain, And the reason, if you guys have heard any of my podcasts recently, I'm hosting a strength and conditioning summit, July 23rd, 24th in San Diego. And the reason why I brought this up and I created this, because I realized that PTs cannot go beyond pain. We're like 4-week to 12-week specialists. Yes, we see post-op cases. I get it, 4 to 6 months, maybe. But anything beyond 12 weeks, we're like so concerned, like we don't have the confidence because you don't do it very often. And if you don't do it very often, you have a hard time setting expectations and delivering on timelines to be able to achieve that by those time points. So I created it so people can have that confidence, right? A lot of people have asked, like, Chris, how do I create wellness programs? How do I, help people beyond pain? I want to be able to do it, but there's a gap. Like they want to go back to soccer. I don't know how to teach them soccer. That's not your wheelhouse. And I can get them pain free, but there's a gap of like, well, the coach is asking me like, all right, when can they go back to, being in a bib with no contact to full contact? What percent? How would you, incrementally increase the percent effort? What about percent contact? What variables do you use? So that's why I created this, so I can give you a guideline on what it is that you can be doing to help progress people beyond pain and confidently. So the first thing that they do is that they set expectations. And that's the target that I love everybody to have. Being able to set what I call a plan of care for pain, a plan of care for, basic strength, a plan of care for strength and conditioning, a plan of care for plyometrics, and then a plan of care for full return to sport. If you can set those early, then the athlete knows that they have your confidence and you're not overpromising pain-free and then back to sport. What you're doing is you're chunking it for them so they can understand what different cycles will be in your hands. And people are looking for this. Don't fail to realize that people are searching for this. But the problem is there's a lot of people who can deliver on this. There's PTs who can do medical side and other healthcare professionals. And then there's strength coaches or personal trainers, fitness coaches, whatever it is. The problem is there's a gap in between there on the transitioning part. And if the athlete doesn't have that resource, you can be the resource. So whether you're trying to create a wellness program on transitioning back to sport, or you want to develop the confidence to be able to do it, maybe you are a business owner, maybe you do cash-based PT, maybe you're insurance and you're trying to create longevity of patients and clients and help people throughout their life, whatever it is, we're all trying to do the same thing, help people beyond that. And so the more I work on the content, the more for this course, as I've been working through all the slides, and I'm like, what is it that we lack? We lack the ability to set expectations. And so that is the one thing that they do very, very well. And I think that they're really good at setting expectations at first. And once that's aligned, you build trust, and it gives you more freedom and independence. They can now make decisions for themselves. And I think we as a profession, that we're always pushing that, right? Like, get the patient independent, get them independent. But the minute that they're pain-free, we let them go. And we're like assuming that everything we've taught them that is going to just intuitively be like they're going to be able to do it on their own. The reality is, you forget what you did last week. You forgot what you ate for lunch last Tuesday. There's no way you remember what your exact workout was last Wednesday unless you have a log. My point is that patients and athletes won't remember what you said next week. There's no way they're going to be independent, and you have to be able to transition them back in, because you're the person with the knowledge, and that's what they seek. They want your help. So you have to be able to set those expectations at first. So first plan of care, I tell people, manage the athlete. Tell them what it is that the foundation for your system is. Whatever you believe, like, and it's your system, teach them it. This is the concept was managing versus leading. What's the difference? People who manage, it's like micromanaging, right? Like, tell people what to do. And the people who lead, like when you're leading your patients and athletes, you're telling them where to look. Don't do this. I wouldn't try this, blah, blah. And early in the phases, first plan of care, you tell people what to do, manage them, because they don't know any better. Even if they have their own system, doesn't matter. Here's how I'm going to tell you to do it. You're going to foam roll this day. You're going to stretch this day. You're doing these 5 exercises. You're not going below parallel on this. Set the expectations. Why? Because they'd appreciate that. Just tell me what to do. That's the reason why you hire people. That's the reason why you hire, mentors, coaches. You hire a service that goes to you, is because you don't want to do it. Can you just, like, if you've ever done like Instacart, where you get groceries delivered to you, it's because you don't want to go out and do that. You don't want to literally grab them. So people hire you as a physical therapist because they want to know, what exactly do I need to do? Like, don't give them too much independence because they don't know any better. It's too much freedom early on. So manage them. Tell them what to do early. Here's what you're doing for the first month or 6 weeks, whatever that is. On the second plan of care, when they've understood your system and they've proven it, they do it, then give them a little wiggle room, little freedom. Like, say, hey, watch, do this, add these bumpers here and there. Then on that third plan of care, then you can just sit back and say, all right, like, you're just continuing to educate them. Now work on your recovery. Now work on your nutrition. Now work on your sleep, all these other variables, because they learned how to manage their body. Now they're managing everything else outside of that, what goes into it, and their recovery processes. And then on the fourth plan of care, what I typically do is they're coming in with big questions, and then they're coming in with different options, and I'm telling them, hey, go this route, try this one. And that's what a really good strength coach is. They learn to turn the dials. So they'll set the expectations early. The athlete has to listen to them for the first couple blocks, and then they get a little bit of freedom and they can lead them. And what this creates is an amazing relationship. It's how I manage my patients and athletes, and they love it, especially the pro athletes. And I try and get my community members to think like a pro athlete. And that is the advantage I have, that I know how to manage the pro athlete. Let's bring that freedom and independence to youth athletes, high school athletes, but you got to manage them first. Teach them exactly what to do. Set the expectations. Nope, this is exactly how you're going to do it at first. Once you're independent, you can do this all by yourself. Then you can wean them away and start to lead them. That is a dream relationship, because the athlete's like, man, that person was incredible. They got me lined in. I'm dialed in. Now at this point, like, they're just teaching me on like what to do next. So how do I work on my sleep? How do I work on my nutrition? How do I work? What's my hydration need to be? And they can actually program for me. So now they can like help me with biomechanics and help me with a little bit of strengthening and what I need to address for my weaknesses. So it sets an amazing relationship. And coaches do this with programming in mesocycles and microcycles. So they'll plan for the year. They have like a big mesocycle, and they'll look at microcycles to help build that. And as a PT, I want to change the way we think. Stop thinking about pain. Can you think in a mesocycle? What is their target goal? I want to get back to cross country. Great. When is that? September. Or you're going to start, conditioning in August. Great. What do we need to do to get you stronger? I'd like to be strengthening in June and July to build a bigger base, which means that you have to be pain-free by May. If you need to be pain-free, it's going to at least take me 6 weeks to do that. So in April, I know I have to get you pain-free. Where are we at? March. Perfect. We got plenty of time. And what you did there, look at that. You spread that out over time, and now it's like, wow, that's amazing. I want to come here. I want to do this. And they have a strengthening program to continue keeping me strong throughout the conditioning cycle when I get into cross country. And that's a dream to me because you're managing athletes and not just body regions. I mean, I'm cool with managing body regions, but I don't think that's why you went to school. I think you went to school because you want to help people, not body parts. And if you're like really good at getting knee pain gone, great. I'll take you one more step higher. How do you get beyond knee pain into how do we get that knee back into cross country, staying healthy, and in the off season, seeing you for strength and conditioning? That's beautiful. That is helping people at the top level. This is what pro athletes do. This is literally what they do on an annual basis. And I want to bring that to community members so they can finally see the value in what we do as a profession. We help people throughout their like lifespan, keep them like moving, healthy, active, doing the things they love without the restrictions, without the pain. There will always be pain. It's just how do we keep that to a minimum while they do the thing they love. So I hope that helps. It got me all fired up. So those of you who are interested, the link is available. I'll put that down into the podcast episode. But ultimately, I'm excited to see you July 23rd, 24th. If this fires you up like it does for me, get in the room, just listen, just hang out. I'll literally teach you the system. You're going to have some challenges as you implement some of these mesocycles and microcycles, but it's not the full answer. You have to understand how to get them there and then maintain it. So I'll give you the tools to do that. So if you're interested in the Strength and Conditioning Summit, July 23rd, 24th, time of the recording is in 2022, whenever you're listening back. It is virtual and in person. So I only have a few seats. Our San Diego facility has a little bit of a cap, so I'm going to include it there. And then if you are interested virtually, go ahead and do that. It's going to be great. There's going to be a couple practical sessions, but ultimately it's like there's so many whiteboard sessions, so much online that you're going to get a huge benefit to it virtually. So hope to see you there. If you have any questions, Dr. Chris at drchrisgarcia.com. And take care. I hope you guys are having a great week or weekend. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.